Okay, so I was thinking about what to make for a video, and I had all these screenshots, and I realized I didn't talk about this yet. But I saw this on Twitter. It says lukebryan weighs in on Beyonce CMA Awards snub. If you're gonna make country albums, come into our world and be country with us a little bit. And someone quote retweeted and said she's literally from Texas, and more importantly, black people invented country music. I also saw this post. It says everyone in country music, regardless of race, gender, and whether you are a real country act or a pop act, has to go down to Nashville and kiss the ring and hit the Opry. That's one genre where they don't give a fuck. You better play the game and kiss the ring. I say that to say this discourse this weekend finna be a lot from people who I know don't listen to country music, lol. And I'm not even talking the awards, because I don't think she should go back after how they did her. But a girl, go visit Nashville if you want the Grammys. And so, in terms of the whole getting done wrong, she did a performance at one of these award shows with the chick. She was performing her song Daddy Lessons from Lemonade. And so, I think the chicks, like, you know, their whole story with country music, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but, you know, they kind of got burned by it, but they agreed to do the performance with Beyonce because it's Beyonce. So they do it, and there was a lot of backlash for, you know, racist people because they didn't like the performance for no reason other than being racist. And so they actually took it offline, and the chicks have defended her afterwards in this, but I thought that was a very weak move, and I thought it was a good performance for the record, but that's what they're referencing with how she was done dirty. I want to say that regardless on if Beyonce kissed the ring or not, I think that they weren't going to let her in anyways, just because of racism, because they already didn't like Beyonce anyways for, you know, that, and also because of these stupid conspiracy theories. Like, they just didn't like her for whatever reason. So I feel like no matter what she did, it wouldn't really have made a difference if she kissed the ring or not. So I think that that's important to add to the conversation. I think having to kiss the ring is kind of stupid, but I digress. Just be respectful to the genre. And then in response to this tweet I just read, it said black people are so, like, that's literally the problem. So those who are avid country music listeners, let me know what you think on this entire conversation. I have some country, you know, moments I like. I like the chicks. I like some of Taylor Swift's country stuff. I like storytelling country. So typically the women, I'm not a fan of bro country. I'm not a huge country music listener and everything. But, you know, here's my observations and my thoughts on this conversation. I think that the person before was right, because having to go to Nashville and kiss the ring is literally the problem in country music. And the biggest problem in country music is how exclusionary that they are. I think there's a lot of people in country music that are racist, that are homophobic, and it's just like they don't want to let people into the genre. They don't want to push the genre forward in a meaningful way. They just want it to be basically the same thing that it's been, but it's just gotten worse, you know, even. Because they hated on Lil Nas X so bad for Old Town Road, and they said that that wasn't a country song and everything. He literally had to get Billy Ray in the song to, you know, kind of justify it, and I think he got a Grammy for that song. And they hated on him for that. But then if you know, literally look at that time, they were starting to incorporate kind of trap beats into their country music and trying to be more current. So it's a problem when he did it, but whenever y'all do it, it's okay because y'all a bunch of white people. Racism. So I think that that is a problem there for sure. And then the Beyonce thing of it all, do I think it's unfortunate that she didn't get nominations for this album? Yes, because I think this album, it was done with a lot of love, care, respect. She's talking, you know, about what it was like, you know, growing up, and also being a black woman and country and her place in the world and just all those different things. And she's doing it well. There's really great songwriting on here, production. She had Dolly Parton, a country legend, on here. She did a cover of Blackbird by Paul McCartney, which, you know, basically was about black women during the civil rights movement and stuff like that. Like, there was so much intention and thought put behind this album. So in that way, it's a shame because it's a really good project and everything, but ultimately it is what it is. This notion that Beyonce has to go to Nashville to kiss the ring, I think that that's absolutely stupid, and I will tell you why. Because Beyonce has accomplished so much in her career. She is a great artist, and a lot of people would not be doing what they're doing if it wasn't for Beyonce. For her to be this far in her career, she's still selling out, you know, stadiums and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure her latest album did 400K in its first week. The definition of, you know, longevity, talent, she has respect in the industry and stuff like that. So she has to go down and kiss the ring. Like, please. And also, it's double standards and it's racism because, you know, I think it's just like Post Malone this country song with Morgan Wallen, and I can't stand Morgan Wallen. I always keep my foot on his neck because he's racist, and y'all better not defend him saying the N-word. He was 27 or whatever the fuck, and he knew better. So like there was that, but he did that song with him, and then he does a country album, and all of a sudden he's, you know, letting country music with open arms. There's not any big fight at the door. Why? Because he's a white man. But when Beyonce wants to make a country album, then all of a sudden it's a problem, and she's not legitimate, even though she's had over a 20-year career selling all these albums, getting critical acclaim, respect, having a fan base, that doesn't mean anything. But Post Malone changing genres just because, we don't have a fight at the door for that. So I think that, it's stupid that, playing politics in that way whenever y'all not expecting Post Malone or y'all bros to go do that, honestly. So I think that that's part of it. And then you have to look at all the other women in country music who have been disrespected, the misogyny Taylor Swift, kind of faced early on in her career and stuff like that, the chicks, and they were against the whole, war at that time, and they spoke out against Bush. They got a lot of backlash because a lot of people who like country music are Republicans, and they never backed down from their sentiments and stuff, to be fair. And a lot of people stopped going to their shows. They got threats. They released Taking the Long Way, their album. It was a huge hit. It won all the Grammys and stuff like that. But their career has never really went back to what it was and stuff like that. And they were just really shunned away from that kind of genre moment. Look at what Casey Musgraves has said, and just, what she's had to do and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure it's Maren Morris. I think she said that she was kind of done with country just because of the way that she was treated as a woman. Like, just look at the way that women have talked about the genre. Look at the way that black people have talked in the genre. And there's been plenty of people who were willing to kiss the ring and do what they needed to do. But at the end of the day, the country music establishment doesn't want to let them in because they're bigots, because they're racist, because they're homophobic, because they're all these things, and they have a certain image of country and they want that to stay and everything. It's okay if all these white men co-opt these things from trap and other genres and do whatever and put out a mediocre product, but let a person of color make an outstanding project and try to push the genre forward. They don't want to allow that because they don't want that to be the face of country. They want these white men to be the face of country and stuff like that. So I think that that's a problem. And you have the whole thing with like Carrie Underwood. I think she was up for Entertainer of the Year, and I think she didn't win it, or she won it with someone else, something like that. There was a lot of controversy behind that. A lot of people in that genre felt like she deserved to win it, but she didn't win it. It all goes back to misogyny. So yeah, like black people are going to go through it because of racism. The white women are going through it too, and they have the white privilege on their side, and they're still going through it because they're women, and country is misogynistic. So that's my problem with it. I think that country as a genre is just so closed off, and they don't want, these other people to be representation of country and stuff like that. They can't get out of their own way to expand the genre and stuff like that. They want to be, Republicans. They want to be racist. They want to be all these things. And so country music is just not going to improve because of all the bigotry that's at the door and stuff like that. And I think that that's unfortunate for all these, artists who want to be country acts, for people who want to make country albums and stuff like that. And yeah, I just think it's dumb overall because Beyonce Cowboy Carter, I think it did, a lot of good for country this past year. Like I said, I'm not a big country listener myself, but it's Beyonce. Of course, I was going to listen to the album, and I think it's one of the best albums of this year and stuff like that. And, not only did she do that, but she put a spotlight on, some underrated artists that people don't really know about like that. And I think that that was also important as well. I think it did some good stuff, but because it's not the imaging that they want, because they're so bigoted, they are not going to give her that validation. And Beyonce doesn't need that validation because of everything that she's accomplished, but it just really shows the state of country and its hypocrisy yet again. So yeah, that's my problem with country music. As a whole, I think the product is not as good as it used to be, and I think it's going to continue to get worse because they can't get out of their own way. I think there's some good country acts, and I like the women who are saying, no, like, I'm not going to be a bigot, and who are standing up for something more and stuff like that, instead of just going along with the status quo and, people that aren't going to tolerate racism, like the chicks. I always appreciate them and stuff. So that's my thoughts overall. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. What do you think about the state of country music at this point? Do you think Beyonce deserved to be nominated? Do you think that she didn't deserve to be nominated? Do you think that, she should have to kiss the ring? Do you think that she shouldn't have to, and all these other things? And let's kind of continue that conversation and everything. But I don't know. I kind of just think that they didn't like Beyonce anyways. And so they're going to make all these excuses of things that she's going to do, but they never intended on bringing her in. So that's kind of my thoughts.